playlist in comments section below.
And he cried out in distress, saying, Father, hear me. The storms upon Lahmu grow ever fiercer. The red dust swirls in endless fury, and the winds strip the land bare. The station is near unbearable, and the Igigi grow restless in their suffering. And it came to pass that the heavens were shaken, and the balance of the celestial spheres was disturbed, for a force unseen had loomed upon the paths of the stars. In the days of turmoil, the great firmament of the earth trembled, for the shield that wrapped it round was being pulled away as though by an unseen hand. From the heights of the heavens came meteors of fire, unleashed from the hammered bracelet, the asteroid belt, cast forth in fury, falling like brimstone upon the land. The earth was struck, and the mountains trembled, and the forests burned, and the seas boiled with wrath, for the stones of the heavens had been loosed upon it. The moon, the lesser light of the night, was struck and pounded, its surface scarred and broken, its face marred by the wrath of the wandering stones. Upon Lahmu, Mars, great destruction befell, for the rocks of the heavens rained down without mercy, and the land was stripped bare. The air that wrapped Lahmu in its embrace was torn asunder, cast out into the void, leaving only a wisp of breath, barely enough to whisper through the craters of desolation. And the Igigi, the watchers who dwelt upon Lahmu, raised their voices in distress, for their dwelling place was ravaged, and their shelter no longer safe from the fury of the stars. Among the Anunnaki there was great alarm, for they beheld the heavens and saw that this devastation was not by chance but by the hand of Nibiru, the great wanderer, in its return. For as Nibiru passed through the celestial realms, it came once more near the hammered bracelet, and by its mighty presence it disturbed the orbiting stones, setting them loose upon the paths of the planets. The earth, Lahmu, and the moon, caught in the midst of this chaos, were battered by the unleashed stones, and their faces bore the scars of the celestial war. But then, among the raging stars, a terror arose, a celestial demon fashioned from the remnants of Tiamat, the ancient one who had been sundered in the battle of old. And this great and fearsome wanderer, a remnant of the past war of the heavens, moved upon its course, a sign of the doom yet to come. And it came to pass that a terror arose in the heavens, a flaming dragon of fire stretching across the sky, its head mighty and fierce, its body trailing long as the stars quaked in fear. Its head was as a league in measure, its body and tail stretching 50 leagues in length. A fearsome wanderer from the depths of the void. In its wake, the light of the sun was darkened, and the earth trembled beneath its shadow, for the day became twilight, and by night the moon lay cloaked in darkness. In the heavens the mighty ones of the celestial realms quivered, for Venus, the fair one, Earth, the blue jewel, and the moon, the guardian of the night, beheld the coming of the celestial beast, and knew not who would suffer its wrath. Upon the earth, the Anunnaki lifted their eyes to the heavens, and fear filled their hearts, for the doom of the stars loomed overhead, seeking whom it would strike. The flaming dragon came forth with great fury, and the earth shook, and the seas roared, and all living things trembled before its might. But lo, a great warrior stepped forth. The moon, beloved of Tiamat, the steadfast guardian of the night, rose from its place and placed itself in the path of the celestial beast. With a mighty collision of the heavens, the moon took the strike, bearing the wrath of the monstrous intruder, shielding the earth from ruin. And great was the impact, and the moon was shaken to its very core, its surface scarred, and from its depths a storm of dust arose, veiling it in a cloak of darkness. From the icy heart of the celestial dragon, waters fell upon the moon, frozen in the void, yet carried upon the winds of the heavens, bringing forth ice and water in abundance. And the earth and Venus, seeing the battle complete, sighed in relief. And Venus settled once more into its appointed path, its course undisturbed. And as the battle in the heavens ceased, so too did the raining missiles of stone, and no longer did meteoric fire rain upon Mars and Earth, for the hand of destruction was stayed. But though the ground no longer quaked, and the skies no longer burned, still the volcanoes of the earth roared in defiance, spewing forth smoke and fire, and the air was thick with sulphur and ash. Enki and Enlil stood upon the high places looking upon the world, and they spoke, saying, "The heavens have raged, the earth has been struck, yet we remain. Though the fates have tested us, the world endures, and the children of the earth shall live on." And Enki answered, saying, "It was the evil dragon, the monstrous comet of fire and ice, that struck this land in ages past. It was born of the chaos of the celestial war, a remnant of the sundered Tiamat, the mother of the first worlds. When it fell, it left behind a wound so great that the land withered and died, leaving behind only dust and silence. As they walked upon the moon, they moved carefully, for the land was treacherous, and they were clothed in mighty suits of protection, lest the airless void take hold of them. They saw that no water remained, nor was there a place for life to take root, for the land had long been stripped of its bounty. Enki lifted his eyes unto the heavens, and beheld the great expanse of the stars. He pondered the motions of the celestial bodies, the paths of the wandering ones, and the dance of the great lights that ruled over the night. And he sought to bring order to the heavens, that the signs of the skies might be understood, and that the course of time might be measured by the movement of the stars. With great wisdom he divided the zenith into 12 great houses, forming a circle of the heavens and a celestial wheel of signs, each measuring 30 degrees, so that together they might encompass the whole measure of 360 degrees. And he decreed, saying, "As the heavens are round, so too shall their measure be set in the perfect circle, and thus shall the stars declare the times and the seasons." He took the time of Nibiru's great journey, the mighty orbit of 3,600 Earth years, but in his wisdom he cast aside 1 0, so that the count might be made easier to read. And thus he set the number 360 as the measure of the heavens, a number divine and complete, a number of order and wisdom. He named the constellations as they are known today, and he set forth that each of the 12 great signs should be marked with the likeness of the mighty ones, the 12 chief Anunnaki gods, that their power and dominion might be written upon the stars. In the northern sky he placed 12 constellations, and in the southern sky he set 12 more, so that both the lands above and below might be marked by their signs. Together with Marduk, his firstborn, he studied the turning of the earth, the cycles of the moon, and the ways of the wandering stars. And he divided the earthly year into 12 months, that the rise and fall of the lights might be measured, and that the passage of time upon the earth might be ordered by the will of the heavens. And thus the great circle of the zodiac was fashioned, and the Anunnaki beheld it and marveled, for the wisdom of Enki had brought clarity to the motion of the stars, and time itself was now measured by the decree of the mighty ones. Enki, the lord of the deep, together with Marduk, his firstborn, continued their great study of the heavens, seeking to unravel the order of the celestial bodies. And they charted the paths of the wandering stars, measuring their orbits and tracing their movements across the vast expanse of the heavens. Enki looked upon Mercury and Venus, the swift ones that dance closest to the sun, and he recorded their paths so that they might be understood by those who gaze upon the skies. Then he turned his attention to the firmament, the hammered bracelet, the great belt of stone and fire that separates the inner realm from the outer expanse. He spoke, saying, "Behold, the celestial realm is divided, for 6 are the planets that dwell within the firmament, and 6 are those that lie beyond." He named the 6 that abide within the bounds of the firmament, saying, "First is Lamu, Mars, the red one. Second is Ki, Earth, the life-giver. Third is Kingu, the moon, the faithful companion. Fourth is Dilgan, Venus, the bright wanderer. Fifth is Mumu, Mercury, the swift messenger. And last is Apsu, the sun, the great giver of light." Then he beheld the 6 that reside beyond the firmament, saying, "First among them is Kishar, Jupiter, the giant king. Second is Anshar, Saturn, the lord of the rings. Third is Mash-Sig, Uranus, the pale watcher. Fourth is Gaga, Neptune, the mighty blue one. Fifth is Shapash, Pluto, the outcast wanderer. And last, the great one, Nibiru, the celestial traveller, the home of the Anunnaki. If we count the outcast Shapash, Pluto, among the mighty ones, then Nibiru is the 10th among the stars, and thus it became known as Planet X, for in the reckoning of the Roman scribes, X is the number 10. And it came to pass that the heavens were measured, and the order of the celestial bodies was recorded upon the tablets of the Anunnaki. And it came to pass, as Enki and Marduk dwelt upon the moon, that Marduk's heart grew heavy with sorrow and unrest. He spoke unto his father, saying, "My father, is this the fate ordained for us? Are we, the firstborn of Anu's seed, to be cast aside while the younger ones take dominion over the lands? Were you not the first to descend upon the earth? Was it not by your hand that Eridu was founded, the first of all settlements, the beginning of all things upon Ki? Yet now that which you built has been taken from you, and the lands of Mesopotamia are given into the hand of Enlil, your younger half-brother. And you, my father, have been cast into the Abzu, far from the lands of men, far from the seat of power, to toil in the steaming jungles while others reign over the land you first called home." Marduk's anger burned within him, and he lamented, saying, "Was it not you, my father, who was firstborn to Anu? Yet by the twist of fate, the laws of Nibiru denied you the throne, and Enlil was named heir. And now I, your firstborn by Ninki, a princess of royal seed, am likewise cast aside. The firstborn of the firstborn should rule, yet I am denied. The gold of the Abzu is drawn forth by your hand, yet its path is commanded by Ninurta, the son of Enlil. What justice is this?" And Enki, hearing the sorrow of his son, placed his hand upon his shoulder and spoke, saying, "My son, do not let the weight of the present burden your heart. For the stars move in cycles, and the time of change is written in the heavens. Do you not recall? I appointed you as the commander of the Igigi, the watchers of the sky, the lords of Lahmu, Mars, that you might govern with wisdom and strength. Patience, my son, for the celestial time draws near. That which is fated shall come to pass, and he who is denied today may yet rise on the morrow." But Marduk was not appeased, and his eyes burned with longing, for his soul yearned for the power that was withheld from him. He lifted his voice again, saying, "The firstborn should not be cast aside. The son of Enlil Ninurta is given dominion, while I, the rightful heir by birth, am left to wander. This I will not abide." Enki, knowing the fire within his son, sighed and spoke softly, saying, Beware, my son, that ambition does not turn to wrath, for the ways of the gods are long, and those who rush to seize power may find it slipping through their grasp like the sands of time. Enki and Marduk tarried upon the moon, seeking wisdom in the stars and a place for a great station among the heavens. But while they were absent from the earth, Enlil, the lord of the command, grew troubled in his heart, for he knew not their intentions nor what they sought in the land of the lesser light. He called upon his father, Anu, the king of Nibiru, and spoke with concern, saying, Behold, my brother Enki and his son Marduk have left the earth, and they walk in the silent land of the moon. What plans do they weave in secret? What designs do they fashion beyond our sight? Do they seek to challenge the order of the heavens? Anu, hearing the words of Enlil, pondered the matter and said, Be watchful, my son, yet act not in haste, for the ways of Enki are deep as the abyss, and his mind is ever filled with wisdom. But still, Enlil was wary, and he gave command that the place of the chariots, the great space center in the Eden, be suspended until their return. Let no chariot rise, let no vessel take flight until we know the will of those who wander beyond the earth, declared Enlil, and so it was decreed. Upon Lamu, Mars, there was great confusion among the Igigi, for their commander Marduk had departed, and they knew not whom to follow. Their order was lost, and they murmured among themselves, saying, Where is Marduk our lord? Has he abandoned us? Shall we toil without a leader while the heavens rage and the earth shifts? Enlil, seeing the disorder among the Igigi and the delay in the delivery of gold, spoke unto the council, saying, A new path must be made, for the way of Lahmu is no more. Let a great launch pad be built upon the earth, so that the gold of salvation may rise directly to Nibiru, and the need for a station upon Mars can be removed. The Anunnaki set themselves to the task, and they laid plans for a great platform where the vessels of the gods might ascend in fire, carrying forth the treasures of the earth. The decree of Enlil was established, and the mighty ones labored for the salvation of Nibiru must not be hindered. Yet still, the hearts of the Anunnaki were uneasy, for the balance of power upon the earth was shifting, and none knew what fate the stars had yet written.